Welcome back. It's the Renegade podcast. And today I'm just give y'all a little clip of Renegade podcast on Bro Sanchez podcast. So yeah, here you go.
What's crazy? The fact that they got put out. I've been to New York one time in my life, and the one time I went, it was Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, and it was off Fulton Ave, man, where my auntie was living at there. So when you said Fulton, that's crazy. When you said that,
that's close where I live at.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yo, I had a culture shock. You know what I'm saying? I never saw so much just black power, my nigga. Like, I went into the little man, I got me like a red, black, and green headband with the wristband and shit. Like, this shit was new to me.
And African.
Yeah, like I was fucking in awe. And you know what else too? I was just feeling like every Brooklyn cat had this energy they was giving me, like he ain't from here. And it was kind of tense, bro. It was like, you know what I'm saying? Brooklyn got a whole nother feel to it, man. My uncle was like, when you go in this, yeah, hell yeah, man.
You gotta understand that. Hey, did anybody see that black couple that opened a restaurant in Japan? A soul food restaurant in Japan?
Nah. What about
it? It's jam packed. They like, I think they the only ones, but they just opened a soul food restaurant
in Japan. Get the fuck out of here.
Wow.
No, bro. Hold up.
Google it.
I bet you most of the people go there just to be like, there's black people in that place. It's like, yo, let's go buy some food.
Well, you know, black people have been living there for years, but they said it's jam packed though.
I bet you that shit gonna get more business than all the rest of them, cause they gonna come out the closet with how many foreigners like soul food. Watch, that shit gonna be off the hook.
Yeah. Just imagine going to those other countries like Thailand, those different Asian countries that open up a soul food. That'd be a killer, because none of them have it. But yet they come here. Let's go there. Wow, that.
I heard that after they got bombed by America, the Japanese started teaching a lot of their kids like reggae, a lot of black culture to actually they basically focus more on the arts because they're not allowed to have a military system. Right. Hey, check it out, right? In Alabama, the Asian restaurants, they'll tweak their menu up if it's in the hood, like to where you can get fried rice with pork ribs, fried rice with chicken wings, and guess what? That's game right there. I remember when I was in Korea, McDonald's got kimchi burgers and shit. So they blend like each other's culture into that shit to drive business, man. That's just a sidebar that I just thought about. Facts. Like, yo, you know what's funny of Brooklyn? Like, for the Brooklyn guy, you ever went to Temptation?
Yeah.
Is the Brooklyn guy here? Yo, bro, you go to Temptation and like most of the DJs is like Asian guys. It's like a bunch of trends, a bunch of this. Hey, but you know what? I remember watching. Hey, but listen though, you're joking, Ross. But you from Brooklyn, I'm not. I remember watching all them old school hip hop joints when hip hop really was doing graffiti and break dancing. A lot of the break dancers were Asian, even in the beginning hip hop. I remember.
That's just fact.
I wonder why. Like certain cultures gravitated towards certain elements of hip hop. Like the graffiti artists, a lot of them that was kind of mixed. It was mostly Puerto Rican. Yeah, Puerto Rican. So it's like different, and the black people was into the music element. Damn, it was like hip hop was combining all the fucking races under different elements in a way. In a way. The melting pot.
I want to know about is the people from New York. Is Al Sharpton really popular in New York? Do y'all really recognize him as a black leader.
Well, he has the national network in Harlem, so he has a real place that you go in, like they do. He has like a network in a sense.
Man, he don't exist in my world.
So let me
Oh,
ask,
sorry.
let me ask you,
Do the mass. Go. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
let me ask you this besides Al Sharpton though, because when we look at New York, people like Sharpton and all them, I think about Harlem. I want to know, is Harlem like the leading borough in New York for like the black movement? Is seen to be Harlem and Brooklyn, or like you don't hear like a lot of black power from Staten Island, or
Yeah,
like, can
they
y'all
promote
school
Harlem,
us on that?
Yeah, they
Well,
promote Harlem.
Harlem benefits on the fact that like when you say New York City, you're mostly talking about Manhattan. Brooklyn used to be its own city back in the days. Queens used to be like their own city back in the days. So
Still kind of like that.
it's still kind of like that because you still have like their own government, but like the five boroughs, it consists on what New York City is. But
Yeah.
Manhattan is the city. Like that 212, like you couldn't even get that number no more because like they're ready to run out of it. So Harlem being so close to Manhattan, they get to the Harlem guys. They know that they get the fashion because sometimes they go to school in 59th Street, so they basically buy the world. Like they
Harlem got
they're in the
the
middle of
Apollo.
everything. So like that's the benefit of the let's say Puff Daddy of the world of Damon Dash. They get to have fashion,
Hey, let
compared to
me
the other boroughs is a little bit different.
one more
They
thing.
got the Apollo.
One more thing, man.
Yeah,
While we getting our New York history and shit, man. This one thing I want to know. Now we know hip hop started in the Bronx, but it seemed like Brooklyn and Harlem is the faces of it in like New York. Like most of New York rap that we remember today come from Brooklyn and Harlem, if you will. But even though it started in the Bronx, is it safe to say Brooklyn and Harlem took over the hip hop scene from the Bronx?
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Like that goes back to the fact of like, let's say, like everything leads back to Manhattan. Like all the trains lead back to Manhattan, right? So like if you live in Brooklyn, if you live in the Bronx, most likely in the Bronx, like it's your parents couldn't afford to live in Harlem. I'm not trying to be an ass, but it's most likely because then like the further away you live from Manhattan, the cheaper the apartments. So like most during the time that hip hop was built, the Bronx was burning. People would go to like buildings were on fire. So like the Bronx was basically a no man's land. Like you could just
Yeah, they
go
just
in
now
and out.
fixing
The
it up.
murder crime,
see what
the murder crime back in the 70s was
Yeah,
murder
they
crime
just
was
now
like
fixing it up.
2,000 people. Last year they had the lowest. It's like 150 people died. They used to kill 2,000 people in a year. Homicides. Like you understand? Like that's how hip hop was built. Like so like but it's a different Bronx now. Like
Brooklyn
before
homicides
when I was a
up
little
now.
kid, bro. When I was a little kid, by 90th Street, all the white people used to get off. All the white people. Now you go all the way in the Bronx, they not scared, bro. They live everywhere.
Hey,
They're in Brooklyn,
because
they're in the Bronx, so like
the
everything
reason
went up.
when I hear you say that, it sounds like. Oh, go ahead, Q.
I was gonna say I know they attribute hip hop to the Bronx, but hip hop has a lot of different roots to it. So it's not it cultivated its essence in the Bronx, but it just as much was in Queens. It was influenced by Brooklyn.
Yo, bro, let's keep it real. The Bronx got
Staten Island is like,
the Bronx got
yeah.
the cutest girls in New York. So wherever the cute girls is at, everything starts.
Hold on,
So
I
I
want to
don't
hear.
know about that, man.
Man, I don't know about that. I don't know.
They got the crazy Puerto Ricans over there.
Oh, bro.
Queens, if we're gonna be honest, Queens got the best ones probably, man. I'm from Brooklyn. I would say Queens probably got the best homes.
Nah, you're talking about the new Queens. Queens, nobody used to go to Queens because you need to have a car to go to most Queens back in the days.
And
Man,
I'm
I don't know, Jamaican Queens, boy, on that E-train life, boy.
Yeah, someone took me on it when I went up there. You're right. This was years
That
ago.
E-train life, boy. That
You see
G-train.
that? You see that Sanchez? I never would
Yeah,
go
that
there. I would
G-Train.
never go there. That's like
Hey,
another
bro,
part of the world.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I didn't know like Jay-Z is damn near the unsaid mayor of Brooklyn. Am I right about that? Like Jay-Z influenced that city a lot, haven't he? Now, this what I want to know from
Hell
my
nah.
from my bro. Okay,
Word.
talk to me, Q. Talk to me, Q.
Hell no.
Jay-Z ain't no man in New York City.
I think it's
The
true.
reason
Yeah,
I'm
it does
saying
have
that
influence.
because look, I wanted to bring up the Nets real quick on some sidebar shit, right? Because I've been keeping up with it with the playoffs or whatever going on. But I've been looking at how the Brooklyn Nets is a new team that's now doing a thing. I wanted to know how does that affect like the city of Brooklyn as far as Jay-Z bringing the Nets there and shit and the spirit of Brooklyn and all that with the stadium there with the Nets playing there and shit. Y'all got a team winning and shit now.
Brooklyn's the new Manhattan.
Yep.
The Brooklyn's the new Manhattan. The skyline of Brooklyn coming from Manhattan matches Manhattan.
That thing is crazy, man.
Damn.
It's crazy.
Like literally, if you're driving from Manhattan, the skyline of Brooklyn matches Manhattan. Like the buildings, they're doing straight
Like
up.
Fulton, the same Fulton you think about before. Yo, Fulton is nothing but sky rises, and it looks like a big mall, an open mall.
Yeah, but they used
Like,
to
yo,
have the Toys R Us side. Now they got a big ass sky rise there.
Yeah, and there's no people selling outside.
Are they just? Are they? Because I seen this on the news how they was trying to move a lot of people in the inner city out in the suburbs. Is this true? In New York. Oh, so they bringing? Are they bringing the wealthy?
Nah, they redline.
Are they bringing the wealthy white people in the inner city where like some of the projects?
Money is not
Yeah,
wealthy
they got
white
some of the
people.
condos right next to the
They're not
project.
even wealthy white
Right in the project.
It's white people that don't really understand how much more money they have than everybody else.
Nah, I think it's
you got
more like
Jewish people that bringing in. You got the Jewish people bringing in these Midwest white people.
no. It's not like that. The thing that happens in New York is this: if I'm a landlord and I rent to a Dominican person, let's say I'm Colombian, a black person. Most of the time we stay where our family at. So if grandma stays there, if grandma dies, we stay there. Or they think of us as a 10-year plan. But if you get a college student, they're just gonna be there for 4 years most likely. They're gonna go and live on into the Hamptons. You know, we stayed there for a long time. So what they did is a lot of the properties from Harlem, for example, was bought by Columbia University. So then they started building more, and then they started just building for the students. Cause like New York is like this. We put the NYPD to control the locals, and then allow the tourists to come in, have a free time, come in, bring some economy in, and come out. You know, like the opposite.
I'm gonna give you some Jews though. So you got Abyssinian Church owns 1/3 of Harlem. The first gentrified areas in New York City was brought in by a black man named David King.
Is that the church that the Ethiopians started like years ago?
Nah, this is Adam Clayton Powell's church.
Yeah, that's the same church I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's a big church. They own 1/3. The first gentrification, if you look up a area called Strivers Row in Harlem, that's one of the most prestigious areas. And they built it to bring white people into the area, but no white people wanted to move there. This is in the 1920s. This was built by David King, was a world-renowned architect. He also built the base. He's black. He built the base.
Oh yeah.
Statue of Liberty. He also designed
some
Madison Square Garden.
Yeah. I remember.
So like,
Bernard King
they're
and
trying to
everything.
get white people to move in. But I'm talking about like from the Brooklyn perspective, in Queens, like the influx of like Midwesterners and California people who are willing to pay more for stuff. Like it's an influx of that money. That's what's driving gentrification in New York. Like the influx of out of town money, tourists who are willing to pay that money to be in the city.
Because I seen on this thing that they was upset because the school they had built this real big, like pretty much prestigious school, but the people that lived like cross the street in the projects couldn't go to the school, and it's like right there they had to go to another school.
Oh yeah, I seen that project. It's on the 66th. Yeah, that's in the Upper West Side.
Oh, that's
Like, because they like the same way they gerrymander. You could go to a different school by zip code. So like, let's say if some kids will go to school in like 71 First Street, and this school will be in 68th Street. So technically, like you said, yo, it's 3 blocks away from my house. I should go to this school, But then they have a zone school.
Yeah, they got the zone school shit. Yeah.
Like 116. So now you live in the Upper West Side, you gotta go to the hood, right? Because 116, Harlem has 2 Harlems. One side is like right now West Harlem is like mad white people. Broadway is nice, but like East Harlem.
East Harlem.
You go into like the woods. Like, you like,
That's the hood.
yeah, and then like they got the methadone clinic right around the corner in front of your school. Like, come on, man.
I'm trying to shoot my video on 125th or 125th.
Big ass hospital.
Yeah, they closed those hospitals and just let people out.
So that Obsidian Church you talking about, Cuba, they own a lot of property because aren't that church is like politically connected? Because his son is still in
That's
church.
Harlem. That's
Okay.
Reverend Butts runs Harlem. Like to him, his attorney David Myers. I did an interview with him. Cause my studio used to be on Strawbridge Road.
Okay.
And I wanted to do an interview, a documentary on the block, but the people were so bougie.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? And then to think 139th Street housed Adam Clayton Powell. You know the picture where Malcolm X took in the window?
Yeah.
That was on Strawbridge Road.
Ain't a lot of that is on that show that come on. What's that?
This is on this one.
Godfather Harlem.
Bumpy the Black Godfather.
Godfather Harlem.
Yeah.
It's the block where that little alley where they shooting. That's the back. That separates. That's how they made it for these white people. They had a horseback alley. So these only 3 blocks. These 3 blocks in Harlem got it. It's from 137th to 139th. The crazy part is 139th held the richest and some of the top like prominent black people in the country, like Bo Jingles, Adam Clayton Powell, the first black surgeon, the first black the amount of first blacks that lived on that block is crazy.
Even Dipset, had their moment, bro. Everybody was eating, bro. Everybody was eating.
Yeah, I ain't gonna even.
140th though was the capital of Black America for almost 100 years.
You said what? It was the what? Say it again.
So on 139th, you have the most prominent block in Black America.
Oh, okay.
And 140th, you have the murder capital of Black America.
Damn. Hold on. Wait a minute. Right side by side.
It's the same block.
Damn.
Wow.
That's
One side of the block,
crazy.
once it is separated by an alley, and if y'all know about Preacher, Ross, you know about Preacher?
Not at all.
Preacher.
I heard about him.
Yeah, I heard about him.
Yeah, I heard about him.
You Preacher's that's the everybody know about Bumpy and all them other people, but Preacher's.
Ain't Preacher was the one that? Ain't the Preacher was the one that always sat on the step or something like that? He was
Preacher was the gunman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the gun crews.
Okay.
Like he was like super legendary.
Yeah.
Like murderer, like super murderer crew, all that. Yeah.
And that's how they basically got downtown though now. Like the projects is right behind the condo building, like right across the street. Like,
So when Giuliani came into office, did he put a lot of those laws in place that put a lot of black people, or was it the mayor before him?
It was Mayor Dinkins at first, because Mayor Dinkins started like Mayor Dinkins. He started the broken window theory at first, but he started in a cleaning way, like you know what I'm saying, like we're gonna clean the community and we're gonna and then they started RICO laws. So the same RICO laws that were designed for the mafia, then were turned into they were switched into for the gang members for the
Well,
drug
Giuliani did that. Giuliani put the RICO into the mafia, then he brought it to the gang members.
Giuliani came in more into enforcement. That's what I'm trying to say. You know,
Hey,
like,
you know,
Who did that when they brought the cops were allowed to come and just rip your pants, basically, like, what was that called?
stop and frisk.
Yeah, stop and frisk.
well, let me ask you this, right? Because everybody in the United States have heard the name Giuliani before, but most folks don't know why that's a popular name. Why does everybody know about this one New York
It
mayor?
was mostly because of 9/11. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
9/11.
another thing about
You know,
Giuliani,
he went to war with the mafia. He took down the mafia.
his name sound mafia though. It sound like he's mob
Well,
or
he
some
is
shit.
Italian.
Yeah.
He is Italian. He is.
But that was as a state attorney.
That RICO law, like he took the laws, like he said, broken windows. Most people don't know about broken windows. Broken windows was used in New York. It's still used. Like other people are following New York's idea of broken windows, and it's so crazy. When I travel to other cities, like I just came from Atlanta, right, and I was going out there to rent a space, going back out there for this graduation. And I went out and did a space, and the woman who had the space didn't want to rent it to me for, you know, political reasons, which was some bullshit. But she was a slumlord. You know, but the area is so low in the bluff that her just being present makes her not a slumlord. You know what I'm saying? Like, so they had a garbage can, a huge dumpster in the back alley. The street pavement wasn't even. And like, when I'm she's looking at me like I'm hood because I got the gold teeth. I'm talking about black empowerment, but I'm like, yo, we're gonna do the street over. Like, you can't have a dumpster in the backyard. That just brings vagrancy. Like, and she's looking at me saying, I'm like, no, that's, lady, you never heard of broken windows? Like you board up your stuff. You put artwork over your stuff. This is what they're doing in all the cities now. You just don't even board up your windows. You put artwork in the windows. You put lights in certain spaces. That just inspires people not to be fucking thieves and shit. But they did that in New York like crazy. Like Giuliani did that, like he said, on the not just on the talking sense. He brought it into the courtroom.
I think
So you got a ticket if you had broken.
Hey, I think that's
Like, so if you
actually
had broken windows, if your house wasn't boarded up, yeah, you was losing your property left and right. Like, he wasn't playing that. The city took so many properties from people for not having it boarded up, for having it done right. Then the milk crates, then people coming in the streets cleaning up. He went from the smallest people, and then he went after the top dogs.
That's how Harlem got boarded.
damn, bro. Now look, I think that was a good idea, but I think that they always got some evil agenda behind that shit. Taking these people properties because of some broken windows, that's kind of a reach. But I get the idea in its original conception, though, on some real shit. And the South, I ain't gonna
They're
lie,
doing it
man.
now.
Yeah, go ahead.
They're doing it in Baltimore now. They're doing it in Detroit.
Yeah,
They're doing it in Philly.
And
They're doing
Baltimore.
it in Baltimore now. Everything has artwork. All of them boarded up, but there's no boarded up. You don't find abandoned houses in Baltimore like that. They all boarded up. They have artwork on it.
Detroit too.
The other thing is that New York is overcrowded because, like they say that 60% of the skyscrapers are actually empty. But so like a lot of this Chinese, Russian, or a lot of just European billionaires, they buy, or Arabs, Saudis, they buy property and they just sit on them, and they know that American value stays on property because like there's a saying in China that is like, I'd rather be a millionaire in America than a billionaire in China because China controls your money. So yeah, a lot of the property is owned by foreign countries.
You say you rather be a millionaire in America than a billionaire in China, right?
Yeah,
That's what Chinese people say.
that's what Chinese believe. That's what the Chinese Jack Ma said that once. Because sometimes, and then after that he got in trouble. Because like the last 2 years, he's been basically locked up in his house.
He was missing for like 3 months too.
Facts.
that's because China want to take his company over, right?
Yeah, no, he was gonna open an IPO for this company that basically he has a version of PayPal, right? Remember PayPal, that's how Elon Musk started. So
Yeah.
but then he has a PayPal that has almost 600,000 subscribers and so 600 million subscribers. So imagine 600 million is more than America times two, bro. So
He got
when
that
he was gonna go,
Alibaba stuff.
Yeah,
Bro,
he owns Alibaba. Yeah, he
yeah, he owns Alibaba too, so he owns eBay too. So he owns like Amazon in there. Like he's the boss. So
And
then
he got
like
in trouble because he
was
talked
gonna
against the Chinese
he
government.
was yeah, but he was gonna release that IPO, and the IPO was gonna put him into value of like right next to Google, like $1,000 share. Like he was gonna become one of the richest men in the world, and they had to stop that shit. So the IPO never went public because of that, because of the government. And now he's still kind of missing. He's not out there because that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah, they trying to say he came back. He ain't come back.
oh, China is crazy, bro.
I think that's because his headquarters actually where all the workers at is in Taiwan. That's why, and China and
Oh, they don't mess around.
like
You sure?
yeah. His headquarters, his company's in Taiwan, and Taiwan wants to break away from China. That's why United States.
No. Actually, it's the opposite. Look, Taiwan is free of China. Taiwan is made in China, but like China is the Republic of China because they went communist. So Taiwan didn't like China so much that they switched their name to Taiwan. But China doesn't never recognize Taiwan as a nation. Look how John Cena had to apologize. He knows fluent Chinese. Fluent Chinese. I don't want to say this, but they just passed a law, so we can't make fun of Asians. But
Yeah, I'm about to do a video on him too.
Hey, but you know what?
Straight Chinese. He was
Gotta
like,
do a video on him.
Hey, but
I was like, yo, how the hell he knows that? He apologized in Asian, in Mandarin.
In Mandarin, yeah.
It's crazy.
Did you see that game that came on? I think it was a game that said they was mad at Charleston White. Did you see that, brother Sanchez?
Oh yeah.
listen, I'm still.
Y'all fellas have a good night. I'll take it down. Fucking falling asleep.
All right. Hey,
Good.
appreciate you for coming through, Q brother. Appreciate that, man.
What's up,
Let's
brother?
go. Y'all peace.
There was a couple Brooklyn dudes on the net.